Hello guys, welcome to new video. In this video we are going to cover the generics concept from week 5. So I think it is also important for OBP1. So in this question what we will do a question from like related to week 5 generics method, like generics concept. So this question is related to generics. So first what we will do like we will understood the problem statement, and then we will see the template code, and whatever we have need to do we will do that, right? So first let's read the problem statement. So in this problem what it's saying, like write a Java program to find the sum of two complex number. You are given as input two integer n1 and n2 and two double value d1 and d2 from which two complex numbers c1 and c2 are obtained as described below. Like we are getting two input n1 n2, which is type of integer, and d1 d2 is type of double. From these like four input we are constructing c1 and c2. So how we can construct c1 and c2? So the real part of c1 and c2 are n1 d1 respectively, whereas their imaginary part are n2 and d2 respectively, right? So here we can see this n1 and d1 is the c1, and n2 d2 is the c2, right? So here we can see what is c1 n1 d1, and c2 is n2 d2, right? And what is c3 is all is the object of class num, which is the type of double, right? So let's move. So like next it is saying to create a class complex num which is a generic class, which is the flowing with the flowing members. Like complex num is a generic class which have the two instance variable r and I, and a constructor to initialize r and I, and a method a to return the sum of two instance of generic type complex number. Like how we are getting the c3, and what is c3 is the object of complex num. Like c3 will, yeah, c3 is also object of complex num. How we are getting, to adding a two object of class num, complex num, right? So what will c3 yeah, how we will get c3? So c3 will, here it is c3, this one is c3. So how we are getting this we are getting c1 plus real number, c2 plus real number, plus c1 dot imaginary number plus c2 dot imaginary number, right? So we will define this type add method, where we like add method will take two object of complex num and it like this, right? And how this is printing, like when we print an object of any type of, then it's in by default is it invoke like a to string method, like c1 dot to string method, c2 dot to string method, and c3 dot to string method, right? So we have to also define a to string method in the complex num class, right? And next it is saying like class fc class has main method. So in the template code, fc class has already defined, so we need nothing to do. So directly what we will do, we will copy this template code. So I have already copy in the vs code, and yeah, so here we will see, and we have to define only the complex num, so that we can, by giving this input, we can get this output, right? So how to do that? For that we have to first create a class complex num, right? And complex num can deal with only like the number type of, like integer, double, byte, and float, this type of. So what will I do? I will specify the type here. So t extends number and yeah, so we have created successfully complex num class, which is generic class, and it has two two instance variables. First one is r and second one is I, right? After this, what we have to do, we have to define a constructor to initialize that r and I. So how to define a constructor? So complex, and it will take two variable r and I. So this dot like r equal to, sorry, r equal to r, and this dot I equal to I, right? So we have also created a complex num. After this, what we have to do, we have to define a add method, right? So what we'll do, public, and first we have to give the return type of the add method. So what will return, what is c3? C3 is type of complex num, so c3 will return object of complex num. So what will I do, complex num, and what the type of this, double, right? So double, and then add, and what it will take complex. So here we will bound, so it can take only the numbers and see. Now what we'll do, I will like create the real number. So this dot r dot double value and plus, sorry, so plus will here, so no, c dot r dot double value here, yeah, and again double imaginary part, and this dot I dot double value plus c dot I dot double value, right? And at the end of this method, it will return new complex, like real and imaginary part, right? So it will return object of class num, right? And then what we have to, define a method, a string, like two string methods. So a string to a string, and what will it will return, it will return like this dot r dot double value, and like, yeah, plus, so this type, and sorry, then the this dot I dot double value, right? So whenever we will invoke, like print the c1 method, like so c1 object, it will invoke the by default to a string method. So I think add method, it is giving an error. Yeah, public complex add extend number, yeah. So let's run and see the output. Yeah, so it is like it is asking for input, so I will give the input 6, 10, and 10.3 and 15.6. yeah, so the output is as expected, this one 6.0 plus 10.0 I plus 10.3 plus 15.6 I plus 16.3 plus 25 plus 6 I. Yeah, so we are not giving the I here. So what we need to do here, we have to concatenate I part, so that will, yeah, so give the again 10, 10.3 and 15.6. so now this time it is coming with the iPad, right? Yeah, so that's all. I think that's all. Thank you.